Hi, this is Rod Saunders from Jew and Greek. Welcome to another Musical Monday. Today I'm going to talk about the CD that I recorded about 15 years ago. It's called Gates of Pearl, right here. I did all the artwork on this myself, so it's kind of inferior, but I work cheap. Anyway, this took the better part of a year to record. Recording is a very frustrating process, at least for me, because I'm such a perfectionist, and some of the ideas that I had in my head just didn't really come off very easily in the studio. But we eventually got it done, and I'm pretty happy with the results. There are a few things that I would do different if I could do this over, but the people who have heard it seem to like it. Gates of Pearl is, of course, a reference to the description of heaven in the book of Revelation. And this is actually a four-part suite. The first one's called Speranza. The second one is called Transita. The third one is Entrada. And the fourth one is Gloria. And basically, it's just depicting redemption. Speranza is waiting, and then Transita is transition from this world to the next. Entrada is entering into the gates of pearl, and then Gloria is once you're in. Gloria is kind of a dance, kind of a, I don't know, more of a Renaissance style dance arrangement. So it's got flutes and mandolins and stuff. But this is something that it took, I guess, the better part of 30 years for me to come up with all of these tunes, and it's the only CD I ever recorded. I haven't really done a lot of marketing for this, but I'm willing to do a little marketing now because I got hundreds of these things that I got some merchandise to move here. So if you want a copy of this CD, send me $5. And I'll give you the address that you can send it to, and we'll ship it out to you. If you want it in CD form, if you want it in MP3 form, I can provide a link for you, something like that. If you want to become a Patreon supporter of this channel for $5 a month or more, I'll just ship it right to you, and along with a digital copy of my book. So that's enough of the marketing here. Let me just talk a little bit about some of the tunes on this. The first one, I actually start with the piano. Gates of Pearl 1, Esperanza. I start with the piano, and then I come with an acoustic guitar and violin. And the third movement, called Entrada, is the same tune, but a completely different arrangement. And it was just an idea that hit me one time. You know, I could do this same tune in a different arrangement. It would sound just like a completely different tune, but it's actually the same tune. I was messing around with my guitar in a drop D tuning, and I came up with this dissonant sound that I could use over and over again. And it just really resonated with me. And so I ended up writing 4 tunes in that drop D tuning with that dissonance used. And that's the 4 movements of the suite. The second tune is called Ballerina. Ballerina is just a solo acoustic guitar piece that sounds kind of like a ballerina twirling around. It's kind of just a soft, pretty little tune. Breckenridge is the third piece. The Breckenridge, I wrote this thing really not knowing where I was going with it. I wanted to write something in a strange key for the guitar, so I wrote Breckenridge in the key of B. Never written anything in the key of B, but I wanted to see if I could do it. And once I wrote this, I said, now what does that sound like? I got to give it a name, you know? So I thought, well, it kind of sounds to me like snowflakes. And then there's a part in the song where it sounds like you're wiping out as you're coming down the slope, which that happened to me when I was in Breckenridge, Colorado. I spent almost as time as much time on my rear end. It's because I'd never been skiing before, and so it took me a while to get the hang of it. But anyway, I loved Breckenridge. It was the most beautiful sight, looking at the snow coming down on that mountain with the moon in the background and everything. So anyway, I named that piece after Breckenridge, Colorado. Let's see. The fifth piece is called Catalina. There's a whole story behind Catalina. It's also another solo acoustic guitar piece. And it was just basically inspired by a lady that I knew when I was young that I admired. And so I named that after her. Number 6 is Whirlwind. Whirlwind, I actually improvised this piece one night. I was at a restaurant. Sometimes when you're playing in a restaurant for 3 hours, your mind starts to drift. You've played everything that you know to play. The people aren't really listening. So I just, every once in a while, I would just start improvising stuff. And one night I started improvising with double stops. And I came up with an idea. And I took it home and developed it. And it became the tune Whirlwind. And it's one of my favorite tunes to play. But boy, I gotta practice that one to play it though, and I haven't played it in years, so don't ask me to perform it anytime soon. Okay, let's see. Number 8 is Majestica. Majestica is the only nylon string guitar piece on this. The rest of it's all acoustic 6-string, but this is a nylon string piece, and it's just kind of a gentle tune that kind of puts you in kind of a relaxed state of mind, I guess. Let's see, what comes after that? Number 9 is the Twilight Waltz. This is in an open D tuning. I got the idea from an old Leo Kottke album and started playing around in that open D tuning, and I used one little riff in one of his tunes, and I created a whole new piece out of that I call the Twilight Waltz. On that tune, I used a cello. There was a guy that I met who used to play for the Tulsa Symphony, and now he has a shop downtown where he repairs and sells violins, violas, and cellos. And I asked him to come in. I paid him, but I wanted him to bring in one of his instruments, and he brought in an instrument that's like 150 years old and played it on that tune, the Twilight Waltz. And then the last one is Gates of Pearl, number 4, Gloria, where I use a flute and people noises and footprints, or footsteps, not footprints. Kind of hard to hear a footprint. But it's got a couple of mandolins, a guitar. It's just got a little bit of everything in it. And it's a fun tune to play. I used to use part of that for my intro to my videos. I don't do it anymore. And the first tune, I forgot to tell you, that first tune, I use Jocelyn Rowland Hughes, I think that is her name, great violinist that does a lot of performing here in the Tulsa area. She came in the studio and laid down the violin track for that. She asked me one time, well, you play the violin, why don't you just do it? I said, because I don't sound like you. I don't have the tone that you have. You sound great. So it was a challenge trying to get her to play what I heard in my head, but we eventually got it. And then the second one, Transita, I used a guy named John Ford to play the oboe on that. And John's actually a guitarist. He does a lot of performing in the Tulsa area on the guitar, but he got his degree at Oral Roberts University with the oboe. And I don't know if he played for the Tulsa Symphony or not, but he's played a lot of classical gigs on the oboe. But, he doesn't get that much, or he gets more work on the guitar. But, boy, John's a great musician. So anyway, that's it, Gates of Pearl. If you have any questions about it, ask me. Like I said, the graphics on this, I did this 15 years ago. Boy, if I had to do over, that's one thing I would change. I'd get a professional to do the graphics for this. but I was trying to do it on the cheap back then. So anyway, that's my one CD. I'll have other stuff coming out in the future. I'm getting back into the music more now, but for many years, I got away from it and wasn't practicing, and so I wasn't really up to performing. But I'm practicing now, so you'll be hearing me do some more playing in the future. So that's all for now. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next Musical Monday. God bless.